need also that one here. You need also that one here. You can help me take it.
So right now we are at Kyakuwa farm, and our motto is a farmer's food is the best manure. As you're looking at this is very good and ready. So as my brother said, we do different projects here, like briquette making, silage making, training different groups. So as he has said, we have hydroponics, which he has already talked about, and he's going to explain more with the silage, and I explained the maize hydroponic powder and the briquette making. Yes.
My name is Kando Derek, a student at Baptist High School, Chitevi, here in Yanama, and I'm in Form 3. Mainly here at Kyakuwa farm, we do a lot of activities. As he said before, we do the silage, but again we do go out and teach our fellow youth, and not only the youth, other fellow farmers out there, and they pick our knowledge, our technology that we use here. So it is very interesting at Kyakuwa farm, and we really believe that if you're here, you feel like at home. So we welcome you to Kyakuwa farm.
This is the maize hydroponic powder right now, and we go only maize in this sector. So I believe hydroponic means water working. So without water, basically, then the plant will not able to grow if you're not using soil. So when we are in the garden,
so here mainly we water our maize with only water. Mainly we use rainwater. Why do always I have to say that we usually or basically use rainwater is that we believe rainwater doesn't have that dangerous chemicals that can be of harm to the animal and to the maize itself. So we believe that the tap water is at times added in with dangerous chemicals that can be of harm to the animals. That's why we mainly prescribe rainwater as the best water in this process. So here, when our maize is ready in the garden, we harvest it, we dry it, and after drying it, of course we have to sort it. And sorting it, mainly we do that activity in the evening. So why do we sort it? We believe that not every maize seed will grow. So we try to look out for those ones that will not be able to grow, or that will just rot on the tray when we are planting our maize. So when those are found out and are removed, then we do the other process. And I believe my brother here will be taking you through the processes up to when it is given to the animal.
So if you're doing this, you have to make sure that the maize that you're growing isn't treated, because that maize isn't good for the animals, because their digestive system will be highly affected. So the first step is that after getting the maize from the garden, you have to wash it in clean water, and within that water you have to add 2 tablespoons of salt, and you sink it for 5 minutes. After the 5 minutes, you have to rewash the maize seeds in clean water again, and you soak them for 24 hours. just know that the more hours you give, the more the seeds grow. So after seeking them, we have these trees that have holes. The importance of these holes is that to allow water to pass through them, because as you're watering, the water doesn't have to stay on these trees. Majorly the roots and the plant itself will not able to grow because they will rot. So after that, then you have to place the seeds on the trees as you're seeing here, making sure that there is no space so that the roots can be like attached and making the fodder firm. So
our maize here takes about 8 days to mature. So why do we mainly, someone may ask a question, is that why do you feed it at 8 days? So we believe that beyond the 8 days, it no longer serves the purpose we want it to serve. So mainly before the 8 days expire, we believe this maize still has the nutrients that are needed by our animals. So at 8 days is when we feed the maize. But it's not that after removing the maize from the storage facility, that is the greenhouse here, it's not that we just give it directly to the animal. So after removing our maize from this facility at 8 days, we first put this maize in an open place for about an hour. So the purpose for that is that when it is put in an open place for an hour, we believe that some water is going to evaporate, and in the due process, this maize is losing on the water content it holds, because we believe when it's here, it holds a lot of water which might be of harm to the animal. So when it loses some of the water, we believe it is very safe for the animal to consume, and it will be very good for their nutrition.
Plus,
so
if you leave the water in the maize, then it produces a bad smell, which will like prevent the animal from feeding on the powder.
So we believe that our animal can be supplemented with 3 trays per day. So this is not the permanent feed for the animal, but this just serves as a supplement to its daily diet. So we believe here at Kyakuwa Farm we are in an urban place, and we cannot be able to get green grass all the time. So we make sure that we can have something to supplement our animals with, and that is why we started up the maize folder, the hydroponic green maize folder, and here mainly we grow the maize. Many people out there grow sorghum and other types of folder, but here we mainly focus on the maize because we believe it's what we can afford, because it's among the cheapest. So we shall be taking you up to our corral, and we shall be first of all putting our maize in. My name is Kayondo Derek, and apparently I'm at Kyakuwa Farm in the zero grazing unit. So here we have, apparently we have 2 milking cows, but we have around 7 cows at the farm. So every cow apparently can provide us with 13 liters every day, but in this period the cows are yet to dry off. But when they have just started, or when they have just given birth, each cow can provide up to around 25 liters of milk per day. So in the morning, we milk very early in the morning, and then at 4 in the evening. So the milk that is got from these cows is sold to the natives of the village. They come every day at our dairy and buy milk. So a liter costs 1,000 shillings here at Kyakuwa Farm. But what we best know of ourselves is that our milk is always real milk without any water, because we believe that if you give a customer the best milk, he or she will always come back to you for the best milk, because they will trust only your milk. So that's why we try so much to keep the quality of our milk standard. So here, as you see, we have where cows rest, like after eating, and when they have nothing to do, so they have where they rest, and at night where they sleep. So someone might ask themselves where we put the cow dung that is collected here, because we have around 0.1 acres here. So we have a collecting pit, or the cow dung pit, behind this corral. We have there a cow dung collecting pit. So when it gets full, that cow dung is sold to people with farms, to people with plantations, or else we have our only plantations. If at all we need some manure to supplement in our gardens, we can use that for that activity. But again, we also get the fresh cow dung from the kraal, and then we make what we call charcoal briquettes. And at the end of it all, these charcoal briquettes help us to cook here at the farm, and again for commercial purposes. Because we believe now if we go on degrading the environment, cutting trees all day, we are going to be left with nothing but only left in tears because of the global warming. So that's why we decided that we collect the cow dung that is got from this place, and then we can use it for a commercial purpose, and we make charcoal briquettes that at the end of it sold to the natives, and we get some money. So what we basically feed is that we feed on dry grass hay that is supplemented with molasses, and we feed silage. We make silage here. Basically we make our own feeds. As I told you, the importance of making your own feeds. So basically we make our own feeds. We want to reduce on the cost and the safety of the feeds, and again the nutrition part of it, because you might go out there and buy feeds that are not nutritious, but when you make your own feeds, you will make sure that they are nutritious and they are well off to be fed by your animals. So that's why we basically make most of our feeds here. So we make silage that is at the end of it all fed to the animals. We make silage from maize stovers. Then we get the market garbage that is left in the market, the pineapples, the cabbages, all that is no longer wanted in the markets. We collect it and bring it at the farm, and we feed on our animals, of which we are reducing on the cost. But at times we can afford to get some green material. Since we are in urban area, we are not always going to be relying on green. So that's why we have to find ways of getting our own feeds, and they are very nutritious. But at times we can get some Mexican sunflower. If most of you know it, it is a plant that has a yellow flower. It is called the Mexican sunflower. It is very nutritious as well as very sour. But our animals like it very much, so when we get it, we chop it and we mix it with dry grass hay, and then we feed it to our animals. At the end of it, all animals are benefiting, of which they are getting the nutrition, and it helps to clean their bodies or their digestive system. So that's how we feed our animals here. And as you can see, they are very healthy. But someone cannot imagine that they are in such a small place and they are raised in an urban area. And if at all you don't know that we have cows here, you might live on this village for around 3 years without noticing. Because they are very peaceful, they are very quiet, they don't make that noise. And again, someone might ask, what would we use to clean the kraal? Because it is very clean, as you can see. So after removing the cow dung, we have what we call the disinfectant. We mix the disinfectant in water, then we go on to disinfect the kraal and sweep around. So the importance of the disinfectant is that it kills germs in the kraal, and again it reduces on the bad smell that maybe can help. It reduces on the bad smell, and it reduces on the bad smell that can maybe disturb the neighbors and the people who live on the village. But here we try so much not to disturb the community and to raise our animals in a peaceful manner. So when we are making charcoal briquettes, first of all we need sawdust that is got from, we need charcoal dust that is got from charcoal. Then again we shall need what we call fresh cow dung. And if we get the fresh cow dung, we believe if it is gotten from the kraal, it still has the grass that is eaten by the animal, some feeds in it. Then we shall first of all sort out we shall first of all sort out the cow dung, and we remove those things like grass that maybe can produce smoke. Then if we remove them, then that cow dung will be safe for the briquettes. Then again, if we have our charcoal dust, we believe it has the bigger particles and the smaller particles. So we have this. we use this to remove the bigger particles. So the particles that can pass through these small holes, those are the particles that we shall be using for charcoal briquettes. So the particles that will remain on top of this, those ones will be left out, and they will be used to light the stove, or to light the stove where the charcoal briquettes will be put after they dry. So after getting our ingredients that we are going to mix, then we shall have to measure them, because we have to put these things in ratios. So we believe here we basically don't make that much. So we will mainly make for a small amount, like those ones that can be sold not in bigger numbers, and the ones that we can use at the farm. So for us here, basically we use basins to measure. So in 1 basin of cow dung, we add 3 basins of charcoal dust. So that is the ratio. Whatever you are using, it should be 1 to 3. Whatever you're using, it should be 1 to 3. Even if it is a wheelbarrow, 1 wheelbarrow of cow dung, you can use it. You can use 3 wheelbarrows of charcoal dust to mix that wheelbarrow of 1 cup of cow dung. So after mixing, again you have to add some water. So the water and the cow dung basically act as a combining thing that can combine this such that it is together. So you add some little water and you mix. So after mixing, we have our mold here, where we that makes this shape. So there are people that cannot afford the mold. Again, we have this shape. This one is made by the hands. Just you get a mixture and you squeeze in your hands until when you get the shape. So basically this can take around 3 to 4 days to dry and be ready for cooking. But we don't put them in direct sunlight. So we put them in a place where they can get the moderate heat that can help them dry on a slow pace. Because I believe when you put them in the direct sunlight, you will find when they are damaged by the sun, they will break into pieces, and that will be effect caused on them by the sun. So if you put them in a place that has moderated heat, I believe you'll be getting the best output. So these ones can help a lot while cooking, because they save money, because it is very expensive to buy a bag of charcoal, but again it is less expensive to buy a bag of charcoal dust, because here basically we sell 10 charcoal dusts are sold at 1,000. But again, they don't work alone, because they don't work alone. Putting this in a stove, it first of all requires you to make up that stove with some other small charcoal dust that will help fire reach these ones, because we believe these ones cannot make fire on their own. So these ones, to catch fire, first of all you have to first use charcoal dust again to make up the stove. Then you put these ones, like 3 or 4 can fit on a stove, and you cook very well, and they don't produce any smoke. Why? Because many people will come and say that if you burn cow dung it produces smoke. Then how does it come that these ones don't produce smoke? The reason as why they don't produce smoke is because the amount of cow dung that is put inside here is very small to produce smoke. That's why we say in a ratio of 1 to 3, because we believe if cow dung is more than the charcoal dust, probably you will see smoke while cooking and the bad smell of cow dung. But again, if you put less cow dung in charcoal dust, I believe there will be no bad smell and there will be no smoke. So at the end of it all, you will be saving your money that you would have used to buy charcoal at the end of that day. Anything else?